Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. If I'm a Tennessee fan after watching that game against Syracuse week one, I'm fired up about what this team can be in 2025. And look, I'll be the first one to raise my hand and say I had question marks about Tennessee rolling into 2025. Many of y'all know the question marks I had nothing to do with the quarterback. We talked about that a lot in the offseason. We never felt like Tennessee was losing a quarterback that they couldn't win football games without. The bigger question marks I had about Tennessee is, hey, can they replace some of the players that made Tennessee such a good football team in 2024? Now, I'm talking about the ability to run the football. I'm talking about the ability to get after the quarterback. My general take on what we saw from Tennessee week one is this is not only a good team, this is a good program. And the reason I'm making that distinction is, hey, good teams, when they lose good football players, they're not so good the next year. Good programs, they have good football players. You lose those good football players to the NFL, good programs are able to replace those good football players. I had question marks if Tennessee was going to be able to run the football the way they did last year, if they were going to be as disruptive on the defensive line as they were last year. They went a long way in answering some of those questions week one against Syracuse. The reason you should believe in Tennessee really has nothing to do with the quarterback play. And we're going to talk about what we saw from Joey. The reason to believe in Tennessee is all the things that made them dangerous in 2024, you still see on this football team in 2025. And that is a massive credit to what Josh Heupel is doing building this program. It's the difference. It's the difference between good teams and good programs. Tennessee's a good program right now under Josh Heupel. Want to get into some of my bigger observations that we saw in this football game? Talk about what makes Tennessee so dangerous going into 2025 before we get into it. As always, to the Tennessee fans, appreciate you guys. It been a really busy offseason talking this football team. A lot of support from the Tennessee fans, and we appreciate it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Couple of monster games that the boys are going to preview and involving Tennessee over the next couple of weeks. Without further ado, let's get into it. And let's start with, hey, they still can run the football, and it looks a little bit different. You don't have Dylan Sampson back in there. You're kind of leaning on a little bit more of a committee. I was really impressed with all three of the running backs that we saw play for Tennessee Saturday afternoon. Star Thomas, we heard about this kid in fall camp. Like, it sounded like Tennessee was a little bit happier with what they got from Star Thomas than I kind of expected from this kid. Saw that week one against Syracuse. The bigger storyline to me was the offensive line. And not only the offensive line's performance, but the depth of this offensive line as well. Tennessee going into this game already having to replace a lot of guys that played a lot of football in the previous year. You go into week one without your starting right tackle, David Sanders. Jesse Perry kicks out to right tackle. Thought he played a very clean game of football. You have Sham kick into guard. Big number 74. Look, was it super consistent? I don't know. That's a kid that I trust to play quality football for Tennessee going forward. I thought he was moving bodies in the run game, especially in the first half. With some of the reshuffling that Tennessee had to do up front, really, really good performance from the offensive line. Couple of bad pass pro sets, but for the most part, keeping Joey clean. Obviously, just moving bodies in the run game. I'm looking at this Tennessee offense and saying, hey, they should be able to run the football in the SEC in 2025. And again, that's what makes this Tennessee team dangerous like they were in 2024. Joey Aguilar. Yeah, look, I don't think it was perfect. I think there are some people that are ready to give Joey Aguilar flowers, and I ain't saying he was bad either. I think what should excite Tennessee fans, he's only going to get better as we go throughout 2025. The more reps he gets under his belt in this Josh Heupel offense, he's only going to get better playing this position. You saw him miss high a couple of times through a beautiful beat, and I'm talking beautiful deep ball, a ball that we did not see often from Nico last year. You saw Joey Aguilar make some of those throws. Here's one of the things I like about Joey, man. This kid's a gamer. Is he the same NFL arm prospect that Nico is? No, probably not. Is he a quarterback that I'd rather go into battle for on Saturdays? Quite possibly, maybe. The one storyline that I do want to dive into is I do think these wide. Wait, let me backtrack. A couple more takes on Joey Aguilar. I have number one, they were able to run a lot of tempo. And I thought he did a very nice job getting this offense set, getting them on the line of scrimmage and running the tempo that Josh Heupel runs. That was one of the things that I don't know if I was worried about, but I was just curious about. Like, hey, how fast can Tennessee when Tennessee wants to step on it and run with some tempo, what's Joey's ability to get this offense moving fast? Thought he did a really good job managing this Tennessee offense. Now, the one thing I think you need to have happen over the next couple of weeks, we got to get these wide receivers just taking a step. Like, I'm not getting up here and saying the wide receivers were bad because I thought they made some plays for Joey. I didn't think they made enough plays. I think there are some opportunities for these Tennessee wide receivers to go out and make plays for your quarterback. And I felt like some of those opportunities you didn't capitalize on. Again, I think it's a young group. I think it's a talented group. I think a lot of the wide receivers that are in this room will be playing on Sundays eventually. You got to get these cats going. I got to. Here's another take I have. Tight ends, want to see them get more involved. I think Tennessee has difference makers when it comes to the tight end position. They were really good in the run game. And that's one of the things I love about Tennessee is when they ask these tight ends to run block, they do their damn job. I think Miles can give this Tennessee passing attack some juice. I want to see him continue to get featured in this passing attack. And look, I know you got to get wide receiver. I know you have wide receivers that you want to give opportunities to. I'm looking at Miles and saying that that's a guy that I think can unlock a little bit what Tennessee can do through the air. Here's the other storyline, man. This defensive line, although down a couple of really good football players, they were active. I mean, you start scrolling down to the defense, and in my notes, I noted plenty of guys. I thought Dominic Bailey, moving him around, really, really active. Thought 94 Nathan Robinson was active. Bryson Eason, obviously good football player. Tyree Weathersby, thought he played some really good football. Again, the thing that stood out to me is that there's a lot of guys that can play on this defensive front. That was probably my bigger concern. And Joshua Josephs, in terms of getting after the passer, we knew he could do that. He showed he could do that. One of my bigger concerns was, hey, what made Tennessee so lethal on defense last year is they want to play tempo on offense, which means the defense is going to have to play a lot of snaps. They had the depth specifically on the defensive line to run the tempo they wanted on offense. We knew Josh Heupel was still going to run tempo. My bigger concern was, hey, do we have enough bodies on the defensive line that we trust to have the depth necessary? I thought you saw guys who were difference makers. I don't know if you have a James Pierce right now, but you got a bunch of guys that can go make plays. But I also thought I saw a lot of different bodies getting rotated in that can play at a high level. A lot of versatility on this front too. Like the ability to move guys around, play in different spots, do different things. That's another thing that stood out to me from this Tennessee defensive line. Again, as you get back healthy, as you get some of these guys going, as you get in the SEC, it's only going to get better. I was really impressed with some of the steps. And again, going back to that conversation about the program, that's probably on me. Like, why do I have so many question marks about getting guys ready along the line of scrimmage for this Tennessee program when Josh Heupel has shown me the last couple of years that, A, we're recruiting these positions really well. The caliber of athletes, the caliber of bodies that are coming into this program, they're different than what they looked like 10 years ago. But you've also been a program that has shown me that you can develop these guys too. I don't know why I had those concerns. A lot of those concerns were quieted in my head as I was watching this football game Saturday afternoon. Linebackers were active, and I want them to keep it that way. I think you got some linebackers that can put a fingerprint on this football game. Last year, Tennessee's linebackers were, let's just say, solid. I think they have the opportunity to be really good. Whether it's Arian Carter, whether it's Edwin Spillman, whether it's T-Lander, I think you got guys that you can really get involved in terms of creating negative plays, especially as you're trying to replace some of the negative play production that a guy like James Pierce gave you. Well, you got linebackers that I think can do that job a little bit. And when you saw Tim Banks get creative and aggressive with these backers, man, they can fly downhill, get behind the line of scrimmage, go make some plays for your defense. Now, here's the story. If you want to play aggressive with your linebackers, you have to have a secondary that can handle their own on the outside. And gosh darn it, did they. The Tennessee fans were pissed at me when I didn't include Ty Redmond as a freshman of the week. Going back and rewatching this, damn right to be pissed at me. This kid was awesome. Really, really good as a freshman. Thought Colton Hood. I mean, Tennessee's playing without some of their best players in the secondary right now. I thought this was a very, very clean game from Tennessee in the back end. I'll say this, maybe getting a step from the safeties too, which I thought was a little bit of a problem for Tennessee in 2024. I'm not sure if I'm ready to get up here and say Tennessee's going to be a better team than what they were in 2024. I think that's a little bit more of a possibility than I thought a couple of weeks ago. That should excite a lot of Tennessee fans. And again, there's a lot of guys that are still getting their feet wet in the SEC. As the year goes on, can this football team get better? I think it's very possible. You got a quarterback that's still getting used to what he's doing in this Josh Heupel offense. You got an offensive line that's been a little bit. I thought Wendell Moe, by the way, too. Probably should have shot at him. I thought he was really damn good, too. This is a team that can get better, but I think they're starting from a point that's a little bit higher. That should excite Tennessee fans. Going to be a really fun, really, really fun team to talk about, to track over the next couple of weeks. We'll pause it there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later.